video to watch for the day. Um, area.
When real next gen games.
So this one is by the Eggman. So this was about a year ago. And I think this is about a year old, and it's some really hot takes on gaming, stuff in gaming. I'm not sure what all is involved, but I love me a good hot take or two, so I can curious if I'll agree with it, or if I'll be like, no, you're full of shit. I don't agree with this whatsoever. So it's a little bit of a hot take, some hot takes. So let's take a look.
When real next gen games come out, you'll be a footnote in a couple of months. Nobody will even talk about this game, ever even mention it when we talk about the greats of this generation. No game of the year, no real champion, just bare minimum.
This is not a good game. It is not a 10 out of 10. No way is it anywhere near Game of the Year.
Game of the Year winner is Elden Ring.
Got him. Yeah, I guess those comments didn't age very well, did they?
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Turn that down a little bit. Oh my goodness.
What's up, everybody? This is the Act Man here.
Oh, hopefully your ears didn't get blown out on that one.
Act Man's cooking. It's more terrible gaming hot takes. Oh, you ever take a fat dump on your steak before throwing it on the grill? That's what it smells like.
Sorry, what? I don't know about you, but I prefer to have my steaks poop free. But maybe that's just me. No judgments. No judgment.
So let's jump into it, all right? What do we got today? Remember when video games had bare titties because why not? God of War used to be a series worth playing. Now Kratos has feelings.
That's kind of
God.
Remember when Kratos used to jack off after he beat every boss and you would look at some hot porn? Now this motherfucker has feelings.
No, I don't have feelings, because feelings are gay.
Thanks for coming back with me. You didn't have to.
I am your father. I will always help, as long as I am able.
God, what a
And I'm hearing this from some folks about the new God of War games where they were criticizing. I haven't played the new God of War games myself, but I was hearing how, that Kratos became. They were throwing the term woke around for it. At this point, terms like woke, and even terms like these extreme terms that everybody's using, woke, racism, all these extreme use case terms that once upon a time actually had some weight to them, have really lost all their meaning because they've just been hyper spammed by people that feel like, they use them to basically try and win an argument, even though that has no bearing. So I don't put much stock into these words anymore. But I heard a lot of people talking about how Kratos was quote unquote woke, when it's like, well, no, he's the whole concept behind the new God of War games was that he is older, and he's a father. So this is, just because he was the God of War and this killing machine in the older games doesn't mean that now that he is older and that he has a son and a wife that he has lost doesn't mean he can't have changed in some way. That's the whole goal of a lot of stories, is to see the character change over time. And it's kind of hilarious that people were so pissed off that Kratos changed because of things that happened in his life. And it always kind of made me chuckle a little bit.
Pussy. Of course the dude got feelings. That's why he's doing any of the shit he's doing. How do you go from this to this? It's such a downgrade in sex appeal. Game Freak needs to do better when they make the new Pokemon. Sometimes I hate the gaming community. It's a fucking child's game, dude. But it's a child's game.
I have heard a lot of people that didn't like the changes to Pokemon, that they did make the characters, like the avatars, look worse when, like, they weren't like overly sexualized or anything before, but I have heard a lot of people are really disappointed in how their avatars for their characters got nerfed to look worse than before, which is just, yeah, it's modern day.
Starring children. There needs to be no sex appeal. Except for Cynthia and Professor Oak. I will no longer play the characters of Killjoy and Raze in Valorant due to them being homosexual. Thank you for ruining my gaming experience. He's just like, why did they have to be gay?
Why are you gay?
Why did they have to like vagina instead of penis? Remember when we could just talk about video games and we talked about why they were bad or why they were good? Can we just go?
I got one better. Do you remember when the idea of a lesbian couple was actually considered hot? I mean, it probably wasn't all that long ago that the very notion of a lesbian couple was considered really hot by the male demographic. Like two girls together they were making corn out of those all the time. That used to be considered really hot. Now it's, for some reason, it's verboten. When the hell did this happen?
Go back to that, please? No. If this was a Netflix show, Kratos' son would be gay and Kratos Afro-American. But since it's Amazon, I think the casting will be good, but the plot will be very disappointing. Boy, do I have news for you about who plays Kratos. Fucking got him. Gamers be like, we need to reduce crunch in development.
I will say, when it comes to a character's voice, there's the thing about voice acting is you're not seeing the person behind the voice, you're hearing the voice and you're seeing the character. So I kind of actually understand where someone might be coming from when they say that, and how they might be unfazed when they go, "Hey, guess who does the voice?" I mean, for the law, for, and I don't know if this is still true, but for a very, very long time, for the majority of its run on Family Guy, the voice of Cleveland, Peter's black neighbor, the voice of Cleveland was done by a white man, and I'd say most people don't know that. Most people accepted that Cleveland, the character of Cleveland, was voiced by a black man, and he was not. He was a white man. You know, and for how many years was Hank Azaria the voice of Apu from the Simpsons? Hank Azaria is not an Indian man. You know, eventually, he did leave the show because, well, his claims is he you know, it was a racial sensitivity thing. But I mean, if you did not know, if you did not look into it as to who was behind the voices of these characters, you probably wouldn't know that the voice of Apu was done by a white man. You wouldn't know that the character of Cleveland was done by a black man. You wouldn't know that the character of Kratos was done by a black man. Actually, I say Cleveland was done by a black man, but done by white. But you wouldn't know that the character of Kratos was performed by a black actor. Because people don't, when it comes to voice acting, they don't see the actor. They see the character in which they are embodying. So the two most perfect examples I can think of in this regard is Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill voicing Batman from the animated series and Joker from Batman the animated series, respectively. Uh, you know, their voices embody the character. And even more so with Mark Hamill. For many years, I had no idea Mark Hamill was the voice of the Joker. When I found out, my mind was absolutely blown away that Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, was the voice of the Joker because he doesn't sound anything like the Joker in his natural speaking voice. But you know what? When I hear the Joker voice, I'm not seeing Mark Hamill. I'm seeing the Joker. So do I think that Mark Hamill should be an insane clown in face paint? Do I think Kevin Conroy should be a grim, straight white man wearing a cape and cowl? No. Mark Hamill is Mark Hamill. Kevin Conroy, alas, he is passed on, was a gay man. And that's the whole thing with voice acting. It is these actors are using their voice to bring life to another character. And the thing about voice acting, it makes absolutely no difference what your race or ethnicity is when it comes to voice acting, because you are not being cast based upon the color of your skin. You're being cast based upon the quality of your voice and the quality of your acting. And that's why I think voice acting is one of the great equalizers in Hollywood, because you can literally hire almost anybody for any role, and it makes no difference whatsoever what they look like. And I wish voice actors would get paid far better and we could see more roles for them, because they are probably one of the most equalized, unless you have a studio that pulls this bullshit of, oh, the character is of this ethnicity, so the actor has to be of this ethnicity. Which, if they do that, they're fucking stupid. It should all be based upon the quality of their voice and the quality of their acting. Does it fit the role? And that, I think that we need to see more of that happening, in my opinion.
And complain when devs do something that reduces their workload. People who complain about crunch are just incels who hate on The Last of Us Part 2. That's gotta be that's the most obvious troll I've ever seen. Someone sent me this image up. My love for Blizzard games outweighs my dislike of and then the sound of
Of course, Blizzard. Always Blizzard.
The other thing is, I don't know anyone personally that was harmed, so I couldn't care any less. I also pre-ordered those games before any of this came to light.
And you know what? This may be a hot take for me, but I don't disagree with that sentiment. If there is if there are improper and illegal things taking place in a game dev studio's work environment, that isn't the consumer's problem. It really isn't. The consumer is not responsible for the conduct of the game developers' employees. That is on the game dev managers and the game dev CEO themselves. Putting the responsibility of the conduct of game devs on the consumer is just stupid. It's a way to shoot yourself in the foot, honestly. It's, the consumer, all they care about, rightly so, is did this company put out a good game? Is it a game that I want to buy? Is it a game that I am or will enjoy? That's all they care about. That's all they should care about. They shouldn't have to worry that they shouldn't have to concern themselves about what's happening in the game dev studios because they are not in those studios. It makes no difference whatsoever to them. And it shouldn't impact their decision on whether or not to buy a game. So I actually agree with that sentiment in that respect. And to that degree, put the blame on the game devs. Absolutely. If you want to call out the game devs that they need to do better for their employees, 100%. Absolutely do that. Absolutely. But people should not be putting the responsibility of the corporation onto the consumer. That's not their job. They're not being paid to do that. They're the ones shelling out money because they want to play a decent game. So trying to play this Uno reverse card bullshit doesn't fly with me, in all honesty. It's, I don't like what game companies do to their devs by putting them through crunch and putting them through, sexual harassment. No, of course, I don't. I think that's horrible. But at the same time, I don't work for them. I'm not being paid by that company. Why should I get myself stressed out, hyped up, or restrain myself from enjoying a product because they can't get their house in order? I mean, in terms of punishment, if the company doesn't do something about it, well, then the lawsuits that come afterwards will take care of the company for them. They'll be the ones to drain their coffers and put them out of business. And we're seeing that with developers laying off staff left and right, studios closing left and right. It takes care of itself. Customers and consumers don't need to do anything to involve themselves in that because it's not their responsibility. It's financially, emotionally, it's not their responsibility, and it shouldn't be. They're there to play a game and enjoy the game, and that's it. No more. Well,
Where to begin? I don't know who on God's green earth could have written this, but they clearly wrote it to justify whatever purchases or time they spend playing Blizzard games. It's like, you don't have to justify it. Just because some bad shit happened doesn't mean you are morally reprehensible for playing a game. It's up to you if you want to boycott the company or not. I respect it either way. But you don't have to justify that by saying, well, I don't know anyone who was sexually assaulted at Blizzard, so fuck them. What?
yeah, I mean, the phrasing is justifying it that way, yeah, was pretty stupid. Then no need to do that. But the underlying sentiment, yeah, I get it.
Elden Ring's Millennia embodies From Software's problems with women. Knock knock, who's there? Polygon. Polygon who? Poly gonna give you another bad article to read? Why do FromSoft games always bring out the worst opinions in everyone? So it talks about Millennia, Blade of Miquella. This enigmatic warrior captured the audience from the moment she appeared, and she featured prominently in the rest of the game's marketing. But instead of becoming an uncontested favorite, she frustrated fans and revealed the limitations of From Software's imagination. This is a critique I have never once heard before. I mean, I've heard people complain that Millennia is a hard fight, maybe too hard for some. Definitely not me. But I've never heard someone describe it as unimaginative. It's such a legendary, iconic boss fight of the game.
Oh,
They made a freaking statue of her. Millennia exemplifies the way FromSoft writes women in its games. Whether bosses or NPCs you meet in the wild, these women have a shared condition. They exist in tragically declined worlds, so like every character in From Software games, sharing a specific brokenness, disfigurement, abandonment, and loss. So like every character in From Software games.
yeah, this is all of the characters in the From Software does these nightmare dystopian worlds. It's like, what?
They are afflicted by gender? Afflicted by gender. And the cure for when they are obstacles instead of mutely helpful is for the player to enact succinct violence. What the fuck is that sentence? What? You killed a bad guy. Bad guy could be a dude, could be a
Yeah, this is once again another one of these. Every villain has to be misunderstood and is actually the hero in disguise. This is what we're seeing so much in some video game devs, obviously not from software, thank God. But some video game developers, and especially with Hollywood, is the villain can't be a villain anymore. There can't be bad guys just because they're bad guys. They have to be misunderstood, and they were actually the hero all along. And no one can just be a bad guy anymore. It's and there comes a point where if this trend were to continue, it's like, well, if there are no bad guys because they're all just misunderstood, then what the hell is anyone fighting for anymore? It means they're all just fighting just for spectacle and not for any real purpose because the bad guy's misunderstood. Oh, he was actually the hero all along. Why are we even fighting? I don't know why we're fighting, because there's a camera right there and we need to make millions. It's so fucking stupid.
dude melded together with the dragon. Bad guy could be a giant knight. That giant knight could be a chick. It could be a dude. You killed.
Yeah, and a lot of these villains in From Software are a hell of a lot more mutilated and disgusting than Lanyas. So I don't even, she obviously got the better because she's majestic in looking. So yeah, that's definitely someone who's talking out their ass.
The bad guy. The broader gaming community usually reacts harshly towards female characters. I think just the dumb parts of the gaming community, or maybe you could change this to say that the broader gaming community usually reacts harshly to poorly written characters. But then again, some people also call female protagonists woke, which is also dumb. But that's like two.
Again, this is a word that has lost all meaning in this day and age because it's just been hyper spammed by everyone that's desperate to make their point.
Two sides of the same stupidity spectrum. It's like gamers don't like female characters, and having a female character is woke. It's like they're both equally dumb, which makes the Soulsborne community's embrace of female characters feel positive on the surface. When that attraction feels based on that empty, emotionless state or reduces them to infantilized waifus, you realize that hostility and that fondness spring from the same deep sexist roots, twins intertwined. Okay, so a lot to unpack here. What I will say is the article's very well written. It has big words. I'm not saying it's good or I agree, but,
Big words does not equal well written. In fact, most of the time you throw in big words in these articles is deliberately to try and obfuscate your actual intentions. See what I did there?
Homie's been reading a thesaurus. But like, how From Software writes women. I mean, Firekeepers, yeah, they're kind of similar, but you can make that point. But they're all like motherly figures to represent the comfort of the hub zones, which are typically an escape or refuge from the harsh environments outside. Ah! What the
Whoopsie.
fuck? What the fuck? What? So yeah, it helps to have someone like mother you and cradle you. Like, I'm not sure what the point is or why Millennia, Blade of Mikola, is used as an example. This article comes across like a kid fresh out of college who's trying to prove themselves with what they think are mind-blowing assertions, but it's really just a bunch of dumb shit. From Software's female characters who deviate from this quiet, doll-like appearance are still written with a lack of emotionality, which feels close to masculine stoicism. Okay, so we can't have strong female protagonists because that's too masculine? Is that what you're saying? What? Why am I reading this? Soulsborne games are infamous for challenging their audiences and over the years have attracted a particular kind of player base, often men. What are you even upset about? What are you butthurt about? I don't get it. Millennia's boss fight is punishingly difficult, and the audience's hostility and competitive attitudes about it are often steeped in gendered toxicity. How? Numerous Reddit posts, YouTube videos, and tweets talk about players' failures or successes while littered with sexist slurs, and one of these links goes to a search result on Twitter for millennia, bitch. What is the...
Okay. So, first of all, referencing social media as your source for anything that is considered quote unquote sexist, you've already lost your argument there. You cannot use social media as a source for anything socially related, because the people who post on social media, the people who post on Twitter, and the people who post on Reddit are the lowest common denominator. They are the ones that don't have any confidence in themselves. They know that their arguments can be cut down in the blink of an eye if they were to try and present them to someone in real time, in real life. So they post them on social media because then they can just post it and walk away from it, forget about it, even if it's wrong. And that post will remain there. And it will, even if it gets counteracted, it can remain there. They don't actually hold the weight of the majority of the populace in their words. Now, plenty of companies like to pretend them. The news media, the mainstream news media, loves to pretend like Twitter and Reddit and Facebook are this massive conglomerate of all-encompassing social issues with social opinions that are held by all. And that's nowhere near the case. Social media is a fraction of the social population when it comes to any given ideology, any given thought on a topic. You know, I've seen so many stupid media articles in the past where they talk about, oh, this Twitter thread has 10,000 likes or retweets or whatever. It's like, okay, US alone, 10,000 out of, what was the last count? Probably going to get this wrong. I haven't looked at it recently. Something like 300 some odd million, maybe? 10,000 out of 300 some odd million of a population is nothing. So, you know, these using the minute you try to make a factual argument about something and you use social media as your core stat for your argument, you've lost. You've already lost because your core evidence is meaningless when you're talking about a grand social issue. Yet people still continue to do it. I don't know why, but it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like they're taking logic and throwing it out the window. And I think we're seeing this a lot in like reporting in the news, where everything is emotionally driven versus factually driven. We don't get a lot. We don't get many facts in media anymore, at least through the mainstream. We're actually seeing more factual reporting taking place on platforms like YouTube that we are on things like NBC or CBS or ABC. It's all on mainstream. It's all emotionally driven now because that's what drives up numbers. You want to evoke an emotional response in your viewer, and therefore you get more people tuning in, and therefore you get more dollars from your sponsors of your news media. So that's why I think there's become that there has a great distrust of mainstream news media now, and we're seeing an increase in trust in YouTube quote unquote news media, people that are talking about news issues on YouTube, because for the most part, this is not an all-encompassing statement. It is a for the most part kind of situation. The people on YouTube seem to do their research much more thoroughly than we see on the mainstream journalists, both the print slash cyber and television. So yeah, it's stop using social media in as your core demographic, as your core factual argument. It doesn't work anymore and hasn't worked, I don't think, ever.
How can you be so good with words yet so dumb? People also fell back into the usual community discourse about which methods of beating her were more valid and which ones made you a pussy. And success over her took on a weird masculinized chest beating at times.
I beat Millennia, no summons. Me have the biggest penis. Women suck.
Is that what you think we are? Is that what
Oh,
you think
boy.
we're doing? When faced with a difficult, defiant woman who has never been beaten, men cannot help but fantasize about being the one to take her down. Or maybe
Or maybe you are the protagonist in this video game and your whole purpose is to take her down. Maybe? Possibly? I don't know.
maybe someone just wants to beat the hard boss, because it's a hard boss. Why is it men? Women can like these games too, you jack off. Women continue to populate the path as either passive helpmeets or predictable obstacles, which the fan base is all too happy to step over. I feel like every single complaint this person has or point they're trying to make could be applied to men as well. They either help you or they don't. Speaking of Elden Ring, it recently won Game of the Year. And you know who wasn't too thrilled about that?
Yeah, I mean, these activist types will never be satisfied with anything. That's one thing to keep in mind. People that are basically activists for either racial or gender or LGBT community, any social. I mean, it's the social justice warrior person. The social justice warrior has turned into social justice activist, an SJA. I don't know if I'm coining that or not, but the social justice activist, they will never be satisfied, no matter what is done, either by the public or by companies. They will never be satisfied, no matter what you do. They are the quintessential beast that cannot be fed. So all these companies that we've seen bend to the knee to their demands. What happens? They want more. It's not enough. They want more. Okay, we want the strong female woman and the strong female protagonist. Okay, fine. Okay, we'll give you that. Now the strong female protagonist can have no flaws. She's the bestest in everything. Okay, fine. Okay, we've got that. Now you need to have a minimum of X amount of non-straight characters or a minimum of non-white characters. Okay, we'll do that. We saw that with the requirements to be nominated for an Oscar a few years ago. And then it's gone into, well, now you can't, and then it goes into the most recent one that we've been hearing about from a few individuals, namely the Alyssa, what's her name, from Kotaku, is saying that you cannot be racist towards white people. So, it's the SJAs are a beast that cannot be fed, no matter, if you give in to them, if you give them everything they want, they're going to take it to the next step and they're going to want even more. And it's something that will never end. Yeah, it's they work in extremes. That's all they know. Just like, I've said before, the two dynamic viewpoints in society these days work in extremes. And there's a huge swath of middle ground that is just being left barren when it could actually being used to come to compromise at it, and it isn't, and God knows when it will be again.
That.
Hey yo, so the Game Awards
He's back! He's back!
just ended and Elden Ring took Game of the Year, and
You can see it in his face. He is still so salty about it.
I'm gonna say this right now. I don't know how a game that didn't have any memorable characters that anybody could bond with.
Someone must extinguish thy flame. I command thee.
You are maidenless.
I am Melania, Blade of Mikola.
The only thing this game had was difficulty, and if you add an easy mode, half the player base would disappear, but okay, whatever, yeah, that's Game of the Year.
Oh my god, dude, he's so butthurt. Why are you so butthurt about it?
The copium is strong with that one, chat.
The further we get down the years, it's just not going to be what people are expecting. It's not going to continue that same energy, bro, but hey.
You made this prediction like 10 months ago when it came out, and you were wrong as shit, dog. You were so wrong.
No game of the year, no real champion, just bare minimum. When real next-gen games come out, you'll be a footnote in a couple of months. Nobody will even talk about this game. Ever even mention it when we talk about the greats of this generation.
Elden Ring!
That is a fact when the next generation cycle is said and done. Don't forget it, and remember I said it on this day.
I'll take things that aged poorly for 500.
Let's see what happens in 2023. How many of these Souls players will still be playing that game? Probably fucking zero, but okay, let's play the game.
Show it to me.
Yeah, it was Game of the Year this year, but what about 2023, huh? What about next year? Is it gonna be Game of the Year then?
And you know what? Take your victory
Show me the
laps,
numbers,
have your
Ackman.
fun.
Take
Show
the
me the
victory laps,
numbers.
baby. We got the W. We got it. Look at that. That's the freshest dub ever.
Whatever, Elden Ring Game of the Year, but we all know what happened, man. It ain't really a Game of the Year.
It ain't really a Game of the Year. It was, but it ain't really.
Nobody's gonna be playing that game, bro. The game has already lost traction. It's already losing players.
Well, at least you stopped telling people to kill themselves. Let's hear more of Mr. TV's reactions to the Game Awards.
Now, as far as Game Awards and all that other stuff, I've had a lot of fun trolling a lot of the Elden Ring players. I think for me, it's been a very...
Hang on. I gotta check this. Hang on. Let's see. Well. Okay. Current as of 44 minutes ago. It's not their all-time high. But I'd say that's still a pretty impressive player count for Elden Ring, considering this was 2 years ago. Yeah. Yeah.
fun experience, I would say.
Has it?
You guys literally sound like
Just put these back on.
abuse victims, right?
It has been pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't fun for a bit, but it is now.
I hate when people make that comparison and minimize what actual abuse victims go through. I really hate when they do that, because trying to equate someone that is butthurt over a video game with an abuse victim, I fucking hate that. That is so, it's so disrespectful to actual victims of abuse, and it just means that you're unable to make your own argument. And I take nothing that you say seriously if you're gonna try and make that comparison. It really fucking pisses me off when people do that.
The biggest thing is just how easily they offend. They kind of make it easy to farm them for views, and I can say that shamelessly because they shamelessly attack other people that don't want
You're
to play
farming for
the
views
trial
with
and
your
error
bullshit
simulator that is
statements.
their game of the year, which is fantastic, but it kind of leads me into, like, the Game Awards kind of was rigged.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, we all know the true winner was
my Reformed Orthodox Rabbi Bill Clinton.
It was either going to be Dad of War or Elden Ring, because those are the two most popular games right now. And the thing that held God of War back is it just didn't launch as early as Elden Ring to move as many units, to pick up as much press or whatever. And
wasn't God of War Ragnarok like one of the fastest selling PlayStation games ever made? Yeah, it was.
I was pretty much like, yo, this game kind of sucks, I fucking hate it kind of thing. And then I saw the responses I was getting on my initial review. A lot of the people that were attacking were a lot of the socially awkward weirdos.
Look at all these socially awkward weirdos that like Elden Ring.
Yeah, guess what? I'm socially awkward. I am the socially awkward weirdo. So, I mean, don't give me that bullshit. Don't try and say that because you're socially awkward, you're a weirdo, and that your opinion means nothing. Okay, I'm extremely socially awkward. In fact, I haven't. Well, I'm not gonna dig that deep into it, but using that as an excuse to try, you're using someone else's, I'll say ineptitude, even though I don't think that's the proper word for it, as a stepping stone. Or you're using their body to try and elevate yourself. Fucking piece of shit. And I accidentally jumped it again. I gotta find this. Find where I accidentally stopped it. Philadelphia.
You guys literally sound like abuse victims, right?
God of War back
Okay, there we
didn't
go.
launch as early as Elden Ring to move as many units,
Here we go.
to pick up as much press or whatever. And
wasn't God of War Ragnarok like one of the fastest selling PlayStation games ever made? Yeah, it was.
I was pretty much like, yo, this game kind of sucks, I fucking hate it kind of thing. And then I saw the responses I was getting on my initial review. A lot of the people that were attacking were a lot of the socially awkward weirdos.
Look at all these socially awkward weirdos that like.
And by the way, when he says attacking, my guess is they're probably just factually correcting him on something. And because they were factually correcting him on something, these activists just say they were attacking me. Fucking asshole. I know, I'm getting very heated about this. I shouldn't be, but
Like Elden Ring and attacking me because they don't have social skills.
They have no family, no friends, no life.
I'm never gonna like the game because I think, frankly, it would not have killed the developers to have respect for new players. Like, it takes 2 seconds to add a difficulty toggle.
It takes 2 seconds to add a difficulty toggle. You don't have to retool every encounter and just lower the numbers. That's it.
Somebody who has an easier life, who doesn't maybe have so much bullshit to deal with, they're not gonna care. They're gonna be, oh gosh, you're giving me a challenge? I live a boring life. Fantastic.
My life is so boring. If only fate would come along and fuck me in the ass.
With the Elden Ring gamers that like try to troll or whatever from time to time, and
oh yes, the Elden Ring devs didn't cater to me specifically because I'm a shitty gamer. So obviously, game equals bad.
and from me, I am an adult, and I do have responsibilities outside of YouTube.
If you're an
outside of
adult,
video
act
games
like
and
one,
all
you
this other stuff.
fucking
So
idiot.
People, when they hear that, they just, sometimes when they don't have those things, it's a disconnect for them. They're like, what do you mean you're busy with other stuff?
He's still basically reiterating the, if you like this game, you probably have no family, no friends, no life. He's still saying the same shit, dude.
So I think that's the first problem. The second problem with Elden Ring, I think, is the graphics.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
The graphics are dog shit. The graphics are dog shit. The graphics are dog shit.
In the beginning, like, when I first started Elden Ring and I was playing it, and I was like, man, this game kind of sucks. And then once I saw it was a bunch of 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 25-year-olds, like, oh, get good, scrub. I was like, okay, I see what this is. This is a bunch of kids living with their parents. This is what they do to challenge themselves outside of taking out the trash.
Bro just can't stop. Just stop throwing shade.
The level of butthurt on this guy is hilarious. He is so butthurt that 13-year-old kids are probably whipping his ass in Elden Ring. And he probably can't win it, and he's crying for a game journalist mode.
Stop it.
You guys will see. It'll be very fun for me next year. More TVs. You guys helped us fund Quantum TV by literally just trolling.
Oh, this was the Quantum TV guy. I didn't recognize him. Okay, that makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. Quantum TV. For those that don't know, that guy Quantum TV, he actually went after the Act Man here. The guy is an unhinged lunatic. So that actually, I didn't recognize him probably because it's been a while since I saw a thing on Quantum TV, and I only ever saw it like once in a video a while back. So I didn't recognize him. Now the reactions are making perfect sense to me. Quantum TV is an unhinged lunatic who actually doxed the Act Man here and went and actually called his family. God was able to get I believe it was, pretty sure this is Quantum TV, who called the Act Man's mother to tell him to stop being a bully to him. So that explains everything.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this video about the Game Awards or how much money you make?
Everybody who has been coming on and who have been ratioing, it's like, you've really done nothing but like literally just put money in my pocket, bro, like all day.
I can't watch anymore.
When GTA 6 was announced, female pro tag, hard pass. Sorry, the woke crowd ruined it by shoving it down our throats for the past few years. Bye. Okay, it's like, yeah, you can make fun of woke stuff, it does get annoying and tiresome, but that fucking Millennia article is kind of right sometimes. Like, dumbasses just don't like female protagonists for whatever reason. I don't get it.
Yeah, he's not wrong. There are some out there that simply don't like a female protagonist. There are few, but they are out there. But you know, we as a society are not going to let people like that dictate how we function. We're not going to let them dictate how we make games. GTA 6, I don't know if I will play it. I never played GTA 5. There's nothing wrong with the female protagonist. The kinds of stories that can be told are just as rich and varied with a female protagonist as they are with a male protagonist. It all just depends on the skill of your writer and the skill of your team. The gender of the main character is meaningless in that respect, so long as you don't use said gender or like the protagonist's sexuality as the absolute cornerstone of your entire game and your entire idea. So, I don't believe this to be true, but say that the female protagonist for GTA 6 is a lesbian. So what? As long as the whole cornerstone of her character is not, I am lesbian, nobody's going to care. And I'd say that's true for just about everything in popular media these days. As long as you are not making gender, sexuality, race, what have you, these very specific social issues, as long as you're not making it the cornerstone of your story, people don't care. But when you are making it cornerstone or really big parts of your story, that's when people care. That's when people start throwing the woke card out, and white people are saying, I'm done with this. I hate this. And I think people are starting to wake up to it, but we are still seeing it in some respects.
Get it, dude. Calling everything sexist is just as cringe as calling everything woke. Can we agree on that? Like, can we at least try to have some, like, reasonable common sense? No. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet criticism makes money.
There are still a large number of people that are shitting on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and the Nintendo Switch in general. Yeah, I know, believe it or not, pretty crazy that they're milking the hell out of shitting on Nintendo. But hey, content's content.
Content's content. Yeah, it's YouTube, man. Something bad? Hey, look, that thing's bad. Here's my video on it. Something's awesome? Hey, that thing's awesome. Here's my video on it. Yeah, we make videos.
These experts, these social media influencers, these YouTubers, they have no merit. They have no ground.
No merit, no ground. I showed the gameplay of Scarlet and Violet. I think it speaks for itself. That's my merit. I've played Pokemon since Red and Blue, literally since the 90s.
There are people who've gone.
And again, the people that are doing quote-unquote journalism and commentary on YouTube actually seem to be more trusted these days than anything that's considered mainstream because they actually put time, effort, and heart into their work to, make sure that the facts are present. As well as opinions sometimes. Sometimes there are opinions in there, but they also make sure that there is factual basis to them.
Out and played Pokemon Scarlet and Violet after knowing it was a massive glitchy mess, knowingly paid $60 for this game, and then turned around and spent hours on a review just to shit on it. They weren't sent a pre-copy.
It's their job.
A copy ahead of time.
People that get pre-copies don't shit on games like that. What? So you're upset that people are making bad reviews of a game like a month or two after it came out? Well, genius. Not everybody shits out a video in one day, okay? Sometimes it takes time. Maybe I don't want to play the game right away. Maybe a buddy convinces me.
They weren't sent a pre-copy. They weren't sent a copy ahead of time. They didn't buy the game, play it day one, and make a review, and it was out within the first week.
What does the timing have to do with anything? Of course people are going to be negative. It's like it's the internet.
These are individuals who will literally go out, buy the game, just to make content on it because it's trendy.
Why is it trendy? Is it because the game looks like this? Because that might be a good reason.
When they do these videos on Pokemon,
Or it's a new game, and their audience wants to see what they're talking about, or see what the game's about.
It's so underpowered, it's so garbage, it's so junk. It makes me think to myself, well, now, this isn't a day one thing, so why are you doing this?
Remember, fellas, you can only criticize a game if you played it day one and reviewed it in one day. Bro, it's like I bought the game, I didn't play it for a bit, and then I played it, and then I was like, oh, this is really bad. So I made a video on it. It ain't that deep.
What do you gain by spending $60 on a game a month later after the game is released? Well, you gain views, you gain content. Why would you make a video, a review? Why would you give a company $60 of your hard-earned money? Why would you spend $250 to $300 on a game console when you know, one, it's extremely underpowered?
Why would I spend money on a game console? Because I bought it 5 years ago.
You've had plenty of time in advance to know about the exact product you're purchasing. You still do it all. You do all of it. And then turn around and spend hours on a review just to shit all over it.
Why did I spend money on a game to review it? Because I'm not gonna steal it. Well, folks, it's been an interesting year, hasn't it? We've seen a lot of great video games and a lot of bad hot takes. That's about all I can handle right now. I'm gonna go get some bleach and pour it into my eyes now. So thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did and subscribe to The Act Man for more awesome content. Alright everyone, that's all I got for today. This is The Act Man signing out. Peace!
Thank you, Mr. Ackman. That was great.